What is going on, guys? It is Go Time and Mega Crasher. Now, welcome you guys back to a brand new video. Now, in today's video, ladies and gentlemen, I want to present you guys with a little bit of a different approach when it comes to, I guess you could say, my preparation recommendations when it comes to December's Community Day event in Pokemon Go. Now, what I want to present you guys with is a top 5 list of my personal picks of Pokemon that you should go after during the Community Day event weekend, which is to take place starting on November 30th to December 2nd. So it's going to be starting on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that is going to be the equivalent of 3 days. Now, with that being said, I present you guys with a detailed top 5 list when it comes to my personal preferences of Pokemon that you should go after during the Community Day event weekend. Now, of course, opinions may vary when it comes to pretty much anything, really. I mean, you guys might not like a single Pokemon here on this list. You guys might like something like Eevee, you might like something like Ampharos, something like that. That's totally cool, and I applaud you for that. Now, what I want to do is I want to give you guys as much detail as possible when it comes to my 5 picks. We're going to be talking about things like why you should go after these Pokemon. We're going to be comparing them to other Pokemon in terms of DPS and DTO being total damage output, things like that. We're going to be going hard into detail, guys. So, with that being said, guys, if you do enjoy this video, then please be sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you don't want to miss an upload from me again in the future. And I also want to say, once again, thank you guys so very much for all the love and support that you've been showing the channel. It really does mean a lot, guys. It really truly does. I love you guys for it. Thank you for giving me a chance. With that being said, let's get into the video. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so coming in at number 5, we have Charizard. Charizard, one of the original OGs in Pokemon. This Pokemon is definitely something that you should go for in the December Community Day, and here's why. With a max CP of 2,889, it nearly breaks the 3,000 CP mark, but it does fall short when it comes to that. But do not let that fool you, because take a look at these stats, guys. With an attack stat of 223 being at a very, very respectable level, this Pokemon is very capable of bringing the pain in battle, and with a defense of 173 and stamina of 186, it is rather respectable bulk, but there are more bulkier Pokemon out there, of course. But with that being said, moving on to the recommended moveset, it is going to be that of Fire Spin and its event-exclusive move known as Blast Burn. Blast Burn is a must on Charizard in order for this Pokemon to even be semi-relevant in the competitive scene. Now, if we take a look at the plus sides of Charizard, number 1, it is a very decent gym defender with its fire and flying typing, being able to resist the likes of fighting type offense, which is very heavily common in the competitive scene, such as the likes of Machamp and Breloom. And also, it is a really good fire-type attacker with the combination of Fire Spin and Blast Burn, making it actually the best fire-type set for any fire-type attackers, and it just so happens that Charizard is blessed with that honor. Now, of course, we take a look at the minuses of Charizard, and that is the fact that it does get outclassed by Moltres and quite a few other fire-type Pokemon. So we go ahead and take a look at the top fire attackers graph. We can see where Charizard stands. It is actually quite low here on this list. It does get outclassed when it comes to DPS being damage per second by the likes of Magmortar, Heatran, Entei, Blaziken, Flareon, and Moltres. Now, of course, I do need to note that Blaziken must have Blast Burn in order for it to outclass Charizard. Now, we take a look at the TDO section being total damage overall. We can see that there is more red than green, so it shows that Charizard, when it comes to total damage overall, is actually a really, really reliable Pokemon, and it does have serviceable bulk, which means that even though it may not be the best in terms of DPS, it's better in terms of total damage overall, and just, you honestly can't go wrong with Fire Spin and Blast Burn on Charizard, especially when it's a badass shiny mofo, because shiny Charizard is absolutely incredible, making it even more of an OG. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on. So moving on into the number 4 spot, we have Venusaur. Venusaur, another Gen 1 Kanto starter, and also, I gotta say, I do feel kind of bad for Bulbasaur, because Bulbasaur was always kind of like the forgotten starter Pokemon, because people would either choose Squirtle or Charmander, but I gotta say that Venusaur is definitely a Grass-type OG when it comes to Pokemon Go, and we're gonna see why in just a second, guys. So, with a max CP of 2,720, this Pokemon is rather good when it comes to an overall ranking of the CP, and we take a look at its stats. You can see that they are very, very well balanced, with the attack stat being the highest at base 198, with defense being at base 189, and stamina being at 190. These stats, like I said, are very well rounded, with the attack slightly being head and shoulders above the defense and the stamina. So we then take a look at the recommended moveset. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it's no surprise that you definitely got to have Frenzy Plant here. You got to have the combination of Vine Whip and Frenzy Plant to make this Pokemon a very relevant grass-type attacker. And the plus side, ladies and gentlemen, of using Venusaur, well, check this out, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1, it is a very decent defender because of the fact that not only does it have good, well-rounded stats, but also because of its grass and poison typing. We also take a look at the fact that it is a very lethal grass attacker with the combination of Vine Whip and Frenzy Plant, making it, I believe, the best grass moveset that there is in the game currently. And last but not least, its defensive typing, as I had actually just made reference to, being that of grass and poison. It allows for you to resist quite the number of things, such as fairy, such as poison, such as grass, water, the list goes on. And also, ladies and gentlemen, you know, one of those types being fighting, being resisted here by Venusaur, actually makes this Pokemon rather coveted as a gym defender because of how common fighting type attackers like Machamp and Breloom are. Now, of course, there's always downsides, so take a look at the minuses here, ladies and gentlemen. It does have one downside, and that is because of the fact that when Frenzy Plant on Sceptile gets released, this Pokemon will be outclassed in raw damage output, so please be sure to remember that. However, ladies and gentlemen, we take a look at the graph of top grass attackers. This Pokemon ranks really freaking high on the list, okay? Only being outclassed by Frenzy Plant Sceptile, Roserade, and Shaman Sky. Now, it is 4th here on this list. Now, with that being said, we also take a look at the DP, like it's 4th on the list when it comes to its DPS. Now, when it comes to total damage overall, it also has a lot of red to it, which is a good thing. It is going to be outclassing other Pokemon when it comes to total damage overall, such as Sceptile. You take a look at Sceptile. Sceptile has a negative 13.90% when it comes to total damage overall, and Roserade has a negative percentage as well, which means that Venusaur might actually be the recommended pick out of all of the non-legendary grass-type Pokemon, only being outclassed by Shaman Sky in both the DPS and the TDO category. So, coming in the number 3rd spot, we have Dragonite, the Gen 1 pseudo-legendary Pokemon, and I gotta say, this Pokemon right here is an instant classic. It is an instant must-have in your offensive Pokemon Go competitive team for a long list of reasons, such as, number 1, with a max CP of 3,792. This makes Dragonite one of the highest ranking non-legendary Pokemon that there is in Pokemon Go in terms of CP and CP alone. But ladies and gentlemen, we also take a look at its stats. Its attack stat is ridiculous. With an attack stat of 263, this Pokemon will be bringing the pain like there's no tomorrow, baby, so you best be prepared. And also, its defenses and stamina isn't too bad either, with defense of 198 and stamina being 209. This Pokemon has the bulk to back up that attack stat to be able to take hits and hit right back. So ladies and gentlemen, we take a look at the recommended moveset. We have Dragon Tail and Outrage. Now, the reason for Outrage is that it severely outclasses Draco Meteor. Draco Meteor, even though it is a good attack by itself, Outrage outclasses it for a number of reasons. Number one, it's less energy cost, and number two, it doesn't take as much time to build meter to be able to utilize Outrage, and Outrage is a 2-bar charge move. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at some of the plus sides, such as, number one, it is one of the most consistent non-legendary dragon attackers. Yes, you definitely gotta have consistency up in this, ladies and gentlemen. And number two, like I was making reference to with Outrage, it is a 2-bar charge move. You have to use Outrage if you want to utilize Dragonite to its maximum and fullest potential. Now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, we take a look at the negatives, and that is of the fact that it does get outclassed by Rayquaza in DPS. But, of course, Rayquaza is a legendary Pokemon, so naturally, legendary Pokemon are going to outclass non-legendary Pokemon. I say naturally very, very loosely, because there are cases where non-legendary Pokemon can outclass legendary Pokemon. Now, of course, the second downside is that it has less DPS than Salamence in certain matchups. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the top dragon attackers graph. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so taking a look at the top dragon attackers, we see clearly that Rayquaza is number 1. We have Palkia being number 2, Salamence being number 3, Dialga being number 4, and Dragonite being number 5. So, because Dialga and Palkia are not yet released, we're not going to worry about those, but let's compare Dragonite to Salamence, guys. So, it is going to have a slight percentage when it comes to its DPS, that being a percentage of plus 6.77, but we take a look at the total damage overall, we can see that Dragonite is where it's at in that situation. So we have kind of like a, a very, very big similarity right here. Even though the percentage may be slightly, and I mean very slightly different, they are very different, they are very similar, sorry, in terms of, the rounded percentages. So I mean, you know what? It really is a coin flip in this situation. Do you want Salamence for slightly higher DPS, or do you want Dragonite for slightly higher total damage overall? It really is up to you, and it also even outclasses Rayquaza when it comes to total damage overall. So that right there is a testament when it comes to its bulk overall. So, coming in the number 2 spot, we have Tyranitar. With a max CP of 3,834. This Pokemon right here is even higher than Dragonite. This is just absolutely crazy, guys. And we take a look at the stats. My god, these are some of the best well-rounded stats I had ever seen. All 3 of these stats break past the 200 threshold. We have the attack stat being the highest at 251, the defense stat being at 207, and the stamina being at 225. Now, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, you most certainly want to go after this Pokemon because of the fact that it will have Smackdown being a very effective and very fast rock-type not charge move, but a fast attack. This Pokemon right here with Smackdown and Stone Edge makes it one of the most, if not the most, reliable and consistent rock-type attacker there is in the game. And let's take a look at some of the pluses here, guys. It is a tremendous rock-type attacker, as I had just mentioned. Number 2, it outlasts Rampardos and Rhyperior with high total damage overall. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. You guys thought that Rhyperior was going to be the new cool cat on the block when it comes to being a rock attacker. Well, I got news for you, man. Is that Tyranitar, being the original and old guard, ain't ready to be muscled down and bested just yet. So, with that being said, let's also take a look at some of the minuses here. We have one, that being it does trail behind Rampardos in DPS by a fair margin. However, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the top rock-type attackers graph. Look at this, guys. Yes, look, we have Tyranitar being in second place when it comes to total damage over, or I should say, to DPS. Yes, by a pretty big percentage, being 20.38%. But you take a look at the total damage overall. Yeah, that's almost double the percentage right there. That is almost double when it comes to Tyranitar. Yeah, we have Tyranitar heavily outclassing Rampardos by a very big margin when it comes to total damage overall. And yeah, even though it does get outclassed by a fair bit as well, in DPS. This Pokemon right here is consistent. This Pokemon right here has really good bulk to be able to outlast Rampardos. So it really is up to you guys. Are you guys looking to have a very fast and very aggressive glass cannon like Rampardos, or would you like to have something that brings the pain very, very hard, but also can take hits as well, being that of Tyranitar? In my personal opinion, ladies and gentlemen, Tyranitar is where it's at. Hence why you should definitely go after Tyranitar in December Community Day of Pokemon Go. And last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, coming in the #1 spot is Metagross. Does this surprise you, ladies and gentlemen? Does this honestly surprise you? This Pokemon right here is where it's at for a reason, guys. So, with a max CP of 3,791, it makes this one of the most highest ranking Pokemon overall when it comes to its CP. Now, with that being said, take a look at these amazing beastly stats. Its attack sits at 257, defense sits at 228, and stamina sits at 190. Now, with the combination of Bullet Punch and Meteor Mash, this makes Metagross not only the best Steel-type attacker, but this Pokemon is one of the best general attackers, even being compared to the likes of Mewtwo and Rayquaza. Just let that sink in for a second, guys. That's just absolutely insane. So let's take a look at some of the pluses when it comes to Metagross, such as it being one of the top generalist attackers with Meteor Mash, as I had alluded to earlier, and also it has insane DPS and total damage overall. Like, that is just absolutely insane. Like, to have not only insane DPS, but also total damage overall, that just makes this Pokemon a true OG. Now, with that being said, it also has a kick-ass shiny. I mean, if y'all aren't down with shiny Metagross, I don't know what's wrong with you, man. Come on, shiny Metagross is awesome. Now, of course, like I said earlier, with Venusaur, there are always downsides when it comes to pretty much every single case scenario, such as this downside right here. It's too OP, baby! Oh! Ho, ho! That Pokemon is way too OP. That shit needs to be nerfed, man. Well, I'm joking. I'm joking. Hey, put down your pitchforks, man. I said I was joking. You think I want Metagross to be nerfed? Hell no. If Metagross ever got nerfed, I'd be pissed and knee choke Niantic like there's no tomorrow. So moving on to the top Steel attackers graph, yeah, there kind of doesn't need to be anything else to be said here, guys. I think the visual speaks for itself. It is, without a shadow of a doubt, the best Steel-type attacker in terms of DPS, in terms of total damage overall. Like, look at that. It outclasses freaking Dialga. Like, Dialga, a Steel Dragon legendary Pokemon. That Pokemon being, like, that's just crazy. Like, Metagross actually being able to outclass a legendary Pokemon, like, there's not very many Pokemon that can lay claim to that accolade right there, guys. That is just absolutely ridiculous. So, I really don't think that there is anything else that needs to be said right here. Look at all of this red. Like, it outclasses Dialga by a very big margin when it comes to DPS, when it comes to total damage overall. Like, that is just ridiculous. Like, forget about it, man. Forget about all the other Steel-type attackers. Just use Metagross. Use Meteor Mash Metagross. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so that right there is going to conclude this video. I certainly hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you guys did, please be sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you want to see more content like this again. I gotta say, I had so much fun making this video, and I really do hope that this video helped you guys out in preparation for the December Community Day event of 2018, the biggest Community Day event that we have had all year. Like, this is just absolutely crazy. I am psyched, I am pumped, I cannot wait to have this event go down. It's going to be absolutely tremendous. So, with that being said, guys, I say thank you for watching, and I'll see you next upload!